Well, we're very excited to introduce our next guest, who's a media personality. He is the host of Reality Check. That's on Fox Nation. He's also a contributor on Fox News, a columnist on The Hill, and he's been entertaining and informing the public for decades. So we'd like to introduce David Webb. So nice to see you, David.
Nice to see you, and yet decades. Wow.
Decades, man, the time flies. He's on Sirius Radio, 9
He's
to
on
12 every day. He's doing all
SiriusXM
kinds of
every
stuff.
day. And also Patriot, I guess it's Patriot 125.
All right.
That's right.
So you can find him there. But right now we have him today. Tom Trento, your host here on WNN 1470, 95.3 with Susie Goldove here. And we have some guys in the control room with David. David, we've been pushing for 2 years. As you know, we're a counterterrorism educational organization. We go after the bad guys and defend the Constitution and support Israel. Put all that aside, for the past 2 years, we've been mobilizing 1,000,001 additional evangelical Christians in the state of Florida to vote for Donald Trump. He only won by 112,000 votes in 2016. We're 4 days away now. You know a lot about Florida, South Florida. What's the situation? Two groups: the Christians in Florida. How do we get them out to vote? And then the black community, 3-4 million or so here in the state of Florida. We see interesting dynamics where black families raised as Christians. Many are leaning left, but a lot of black men are supporting the president. Help us understand this whole situation.
Well, first I'll separate them, but then there's an overlap. With the Christian vote, you've got a combination of, you've got the evangelicals in one part of the state. You've also got a Catholic contingent. You know, when you think about Cuban refugees, Haitian refugees, Caribbean islanders, you have that mixture. And there are other denominations, obviously, but I'm looking at the bigger. You've got also a huge Puerto Rican contingent that's come into the state that is not as left as the left would like them to believe or wants you to believe. So those votes are there based on principles, the things that matter to a lot of people: security, education, family, your family security, your right to freedom, which is a Christian doctrine. If you think about it, freedom to practice your religion, freedom to work with your neighbors, do whatever you want, to choose, freedom to choose. For the black community, it goes back to the early days of the Trump administration. Ben Carson came down to Florida. I was with him. He was in Liberty Square. And that was the day he signed the first order to begin to rebuild what was Liberty Square and now Liberty City broader, because that's an area that was once walled off during the days of segregation. That was a moment. It's Frederica Wilson's district. But since then, the Opportunity Zone project, the entire expansion of that across the state of Florida has become increasingly important because it's produced results within the black community. I talked to some of these black pastors. I talked to the people who work in those communities. Not all of them black, by the way. They're just Americans looking to help those that have been left behind by people like Frederica Wilson, by the Democrat Party, and others. And that resonates across the state, whether you go central to Orlando. If you go a little bit more east to Daytona, you're seeing a shift in population there. And the older population, by the way, I shouldn't forget them when you go to the West Coast, Naples and North Tampa, St. Pete, and work your way out to the Panhandle. They're also paying attention. So this state is complex. The vote, however, is really simple in some ways. Do you want the chance, the freedom to choose an economic future for yourself, education, safe communities, or do you want one that tells you what you should believe and that makes government the God or the greater dogmatic belief and an intrusion into your daily lives?
Well, makes sense to me. And what's going on then with black men right now? And it's a significant portion. You are black, aren't you?
That's according to me, according to Reva Martin.
Yeah,
I'm not,
almost 2 years ago that was. Look, you should have hung in there a little. When I heard that, we go, what? And I'm going, David, hang in there. You should have played her along for a little while. She accused him of white privilege, all this nonsense.
Yeah.
What's going on with black men really resonating with Donald Trump right now?
Strength. In a simple word, strength. Just men in general, but especially in the black community where black men have been marginalized by the policies, all the various great society policies pushed out of the home. Like any man, what do you want? You want control of your life. You want to show that you can be a good man. You can be strong. You can support yourself, your family, whatever the family unit looks like. Donald Trump exudes strength for the common man to choose a path forward, whether you're on a construction site or in a Wall Street office, in one of those high rises in any part of Florida, no matter what it is. You want that strength. And black men are not all poor, living in the hood, living in, the bad situations. They're not all homeless. They're businessmen. They're billionaires. They're millionaires. 100,000 heirs, whatever other term applies. So the problem's been the Democrats saying to black men, like they have to blacks, you're all victims. You must live with this victimology. And we're going to keep fighting for reparations, which you're never going to get, by the way, nor should you. But they refuse to advance along with a society that has already advanced. And those are the things that are working. The administration's produced results. Dr. Carson and the Opportunity Zone Council have produced the amazing results in the data, and that shows across all communities. And that also says to black men, when they look at other communities, hang on, we're all part of this community. We're interconnected, and we should all just have a chance to grow.
Yeah, we came across a friend of ours the other day who's a very interesting character, was in our studio. And Damon, you want to explain to David what we did? We got a billboard up in Miami. Explain the situation.
I have a friend I've known him about 6 years here in Lake Worth, and I moved to Israel about 4.5 years ago. Just got back a few weeks ago, and we maintained contact the whole time. And he's a conservative, 39 years old, black guy, never voted in his life until a few days ago. And he voted for Donald J. Trump. And we put up a billboard on I-95. So if you're traveling north out of up into Broward County, we have them in 3 counties, actually. One in Dade, one in Broward, one in Palm Beach. And as you can see, it says, Joe says I ain't black. I voted Trump 2020. And apparently he's probably as black or possibly blacker than you.
I love it. I drive I-95. It's funny. I didn't make the connection till now, but I see it. I've been stuck in traffic on I-95, which gives you plenty of time to read billboards.
We have some Christian-oriented ones. We have going after Biden. We're using the billboards, using the
Democrats
radio.
for Trump.
You had a question for David.
Yeah. So, David, as we have been doing over the past 2 years and have really ramped up our speed with regard to reaching out to 1,000,001 Christians and also Jews to help them think again. Right behind me is a sign. It's letters that say MATA, Make America Think Again, as we're in a spiritual battle for America. But what message do you have to reach out to what message do you have to those 1,000,001 Christians and Jews that are still undecided about voting? And what message do you have then for them to help them make their decision?
People will apply. People will apply messages their own way based on their circumstance. So I tend to operate from just a very foundational point of view. We have Western Hellenic values that have been largely responsible for our society, which when combined with Judeo-Christian doctrine, right, the principles of freedom, the right to worship, the right to be who you are, and the right to choose in an ordered society a path for yourself and your family. Those are the things we want to preserve. If you look at where the Democrat Party has gone, they can call themselves Democratic Socialists. Bernie Sanders is a communist. AOC is a wannabe communist on her way. And all the others that are there, the radicals within the party, they've thrown out those doctrines to change it into government being the dogmatic, controlling part of your life. And if you want that freedom, then think about those Western Hellenic values that have built this society that has a promise in our Declaration of Independence that solidified that in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights that says that we are all individuals with individual rights, where those rights come from, and your right to choose, because we're a free society and a constitutional republic, what you do with those rights without violating the laws and the mores of our society. If you work from that point, then anyone can apply that and say, you know what, this is what I want to be. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to take my chance on. And importantly, because we all have points in our lives where we fail at something, the ability to get back up and do it, try again to do something with our lives. That's a key part of America. The dream is whatever you define it, but it's the ability to reset, adapt, and overcome when you run into a wall.
David Webb, you're helping make America think again. We appreciate it. We're going to let you go now. We know you're a busy guy. Tom Trento for Susie Gold, my observant Jewish co-host right here, for Damon and Mark, Mary up north. David Webb's with us. Give him a hand, everybody.
Hey,
we'll
thank
see
you so
you.
much.
Thank you, guys.
On the other
Thanks,
side,
David.
the landslide here in Florida and the United States for Donald Trump. We'll see you.
Thank you.